Coming up next, why everyone should have multiple streams of income. And then burnout is at an all-time high. What does that mean? How do you avoid it? How do you get out of it? I'm going to help, and then we're going to coach you up. Let's go. Welcome to the Ken Coleman Show, where I help you make more money and experience more meaning. My entire reason for being here every day on the Ken Coleman Show is to increase your income and to see you increase your impact so that Mondays don't suck anymore. So let's get to this. Let's talk about, I don't spend a lot of time on this, but I think it's worth calling out that I believe everyone should have multiple streams of income. I really do. Now, there's a season for this. Timing is everything on this idea. But let's look at the current context and why this is an important idea. Inflation continues to rise. I don't see it cooling off anytime soon. And so for millions of Americans who have, in fact, gotten pay raises over the last year or two, it has not kept up with the pace of inflation. So it's pretty simple. When gas and groceries and utilities and clothing and everything is higher, well, you're not keeping as much as of your paycheck as you would have liked. And so there are realities that go beyond inflation because of inflation, because of interest rates rising, because of a looming kind of a bigger recession. You could not see a layoff coming. It happens. It's not the end of the world, but it could happen. So if you just look at those factors alone, okay, inflation, a possible recession, and getting laid off, you need multiple streams of income. It's about stability and flexibility. Stability that when I need it, it's there. Flexibility to when I choose to go a different direction, it's there. Stability and flexibility. Those are wonderful realities. When I'm stable and when I'm flexible. It's hard to keep a person who's stable and who's flexible down. And so when I have financial stability and financial flexibility, it's just really hard to really stop my momentum for any amount of time. Maybe a pause, but not stop. I got to know a guy by the name of Pat Flynn several years ago and shared a dinner with him once. And he's been very, very successful in helping others discover, launch, and grow passive incomes. He defines passive income as building online business that take advantage of systems of automations that allow transactions, cash flow, and growth without requiring a real-time presence. All right? Now, that's how he describes passive income. It's not limited to just online businesses, but that's what he specializes in. But it's also very important to point out, and if he were sitting here with me, he would be quick to say, even though we talk about passive income, and passive income defined by not requiring a real-time presence, he says there's no such thing as 100% passive income. So he calls out the obvious. You're going to have to put some work in. I like to call it mailbox money. That's an old phrase. But mailbox money is the idea that I'm doing my life. I may be working one job or maybe I'm on vacation and I'm making money while I'm vacating. I'm making money while I'm working on something else. The idea that I go to the mailbox and there's a check in the mailbox. So passive income, very smart. But you aren't going to be passive in getting it going. And even when it's rocking and rolling, you're never truly passive. However, as it describes, hey, I'm selling, things are happening, it's moving, we are making money when we're sleeping. Okay? That's the idea. But whether it's passive income or active income. Maybe you're holding down a second job. We sit right now in probably the best part-time job economy we've seen in the history of this country. Meaning that we have so many businesses that are looking for part-time help because they can't get full-time help. So if they got to get 2 or 3 part-timers, obviously to take the place of one full-timer, they're willing to do it, and they're paying handsomely. So, having an additional stream of income isn't always of an entrepreneurial nature. There's the entrepreneurial venture as it relates to, the passive income model we described moments ago. Then there's, okay, I'm going to create my own side hustle and I'm working my fanny off, but it's my baby. And then there's working in a part-time job for someone else and a steady job. I mean, I know a few firemen that I've gotten to know. And firemen, they've got a schedule, but they have a lot of downtime. We've actually had firemen and EMTs call this program where they've got that very set schedule, and it's for a block of hours, but then they have several days off during the week due to the nature of their schedule. And so they're working. See, to me, that is multiple streams of income. Hello. It's 2 jobs, yes, but it's multiple streams, baby. I can count on it for a season. Now, do I think that it is always got to be one of these situations I described? No. If you invest wisely, that's a stream of income. For those of you that aren't contributing your 401k, if you're in debt, I'd pay off all the debt, but then I'd start contributing. But you talk about 401k and Roth IRA, any investments like that, guess what? That's another stream of income. Yes, you're taking your paycheck or a portion of it and you are investing, but you're making money. So I'm lumping all this in this to say, hey, don't be short-sighted. Don't think, well, I got a really good job right now. Some of you may be coming right out of college and, it's your first job. You're knocking down some good money, got some nice benefits, and you've kind of gone from childhood to adolescence to college, and now you say, I'm a big boy, big girl. I'm adulting, as they say. And life's good. Great. I think you need to be thinking about multiple streams of income in any of these categories that I just walked through. Why? Stability and flexibility. If you start investing, you have no debt, you can start investing in your early 20s, you're going to be a multimillionaire. Maybe in your late 40s, depending on how much money you make and how much you invest. That's stability. That's flexibility. And so we are in a world now where it is easy to do. And I would be thinking multiple streams of income all the time because I cannot control everything around me. The only thing I can control in this context is how much I'm willing to work. What am I willing to do to create multiple streams of income? I can control that, and I should. All right, coming up next, burnout caused by stress at work is everywhere. Certain industries, it's higher than ever. We're going to break it down next so you can avoid and fix burnout.
You were created to fill a unique role through your work, but it can feel overwhelming to figure out what that is. That's why I created the Get Clear Career Assessment. In just 15 minutes, you'll get customized results that clarify what you do best, the work you love to do, and the results that motivate you. All this helps you discover what you were born to do. And you'll get a list of professional possibilities to help you in your job search. To get started, go to kencoleman.com/assessment.
Are you burned out? If so, you're in the right place. I was thinking about this morning, Alex. And I don't have my notebook that I wrote it down in. But I was thinking, there's different types of burnout. If you get into the fire analogy, There's the dumpster fire. Some of you right now feel like you're in a dumpster fire. Your life is a dumpster fire largely because of work burnout. Some of you, it's kind of like that smolder. Is that fair, Joe? Like, you know what I'm talking about when the fire is burned out, but the coals, it's just the coals.
Few embers.
The embers. But that's a smolder in my mind. Right? If you stick a fresh log on there, it'll go. But this is the campfire. We've burned all the big logs, and now we've got all the embers that are smoldering. Baby, they're hot. It's not a 4-alarm fire, but boy, oh boy, still hot. So I don't know what level of burnout you're in, right? I don't know if the house is on fire, if it's a full alarm dumpster fire, if it's just a good old-fashioned campfire. Whatever it is, if you're burned out, you're in the right place. Because I'm going to walk you through how to identify where the burnout is coming from. But burnout and stress are at all-time highs, sadly enough. Workplace stress is the source. And according to the World Health Organization, burnout is characterized by 3 dimensions. And so I want to lay this out for you because these are the symptoms, and then we're going to get to the source or sources. 1 symptom, feelings of energy depletion, exhaustion. 2, increased mental distance from one's jobs or feelings of negativity or cynicism. And that's the 3rd one, feelings of negative or cynical feelings towards the job. Excuse me, that's number 2. So the mental distance, the just negative feeling and thinking. And then the 3rd is reduced efficiency. Okay, so that's how they do it. So feelings of exhaustion, feelings of negativity or cynicism, and reduced effectiveness or efficiency. According to the APA's 2021 Work and Well-Being Survey of 1,500 U.S. adults, 79% of employees had experienced work-related stress in the month before the survey. Nearly 3 in 5 employees reported negative impacts of work-related stress, including lack of interest, lack of effort, and then 36% of the respondents reported cognitive, so that's mental weariness. 32% reported emotional exhaustion, and 44% reported physical fatigue. So I'm mentally fried. I'm emotionally exhausted. And I'm physically tired. That's a 38% increase since the report was done in 2019. Christina Maslock, PhD, professor of psychology at the University of California and a core researcher at the university's Healthy Workplaces Center, said that teachers and healthcare workers are uniquely prone to high rates of burnout because this was the case even before the pandemic. High rates of burnout among teachers and healthcare workers prior to COVID. Can you only imagine? Now, that's what I would call dumpster fire, Alex. There was already a fire, and then COVID came along, and it was like pouring kerosene on the fire. Did you ever do that growing up? My dad let me do that once. My mom, not happy, by the way. We were burning huge piles of leaves, and we got the fire going, and my dad was like, hey, we're going to pour some gasoline on this fire and to get it going, really going good. And I'm probably 10 or 11, so the phrase gasoline on a fire, no clue. But my dad had a bunch of gasoline in a milk jug. And let me tell you something. He said, boys, my brother's 7, I'm 10. He says, boys, stand back. Threw that gasoline on that fire. Whoa. I mean, the fear of God for the first time in my life got all over me. I was like, that's scary stuff. Those leaves went up like crazy. You could see that at the International Space Station. My mom, not happy. Now I understand all these years later, Dad was being a good dad. Was letting us see the sheer force of that. We were safe, folks. But this is what COVID did to healthcare workers and teachers. I'm talking it just went bananas. And as a result, we're seeing people fall off like crazy. Increased cynicism is now another trait that we're starting to see more of. So, I promised you, and again, if you've listened to the show for a while, this is not new, but I really want to give those of you that are new to the show, and those of you that are watching and listening for some time, I want to remind you, there are sources to the symptoms. Again, the symptoms being essentially a lack of energy, negative feelings, and you're not getting stuff done. You've lost efficiency, okay? There are, what I believe, 5 sources of those symptoms. Number 1, toxic workplaces. Toxic leaders, toxic coworkers, things like backbiting and internal office politics, gossip, leaders lying to people, ignoring people, promising promotions that they have no intent on fulfilling. I could go on and on and on. Toxic to the point that the negativity is so high that it is truly unhealthy and nobody really wants to be there. That's a toxic workplace. Second, and by the way, toxicity will wear anyone down. It could be absolutely in what you thought was your dream job, the sweet spot role, which is defined by you using what you do best to do work you love to produce results that matter. And you spend about 75% of your day doing that or more. But if you're doing that in a toxic environment, that is going to wear off quick. And boy, that creates confusion. Number 2, people just absolutely overwork. We saw this coming out of the pandemic. People leaving jobs. People are catching plates falling off of the cupboard, if you will, the old cartoon scene. I don't know if that was Sylvester the cat or not. I think it was, as it comes back to me. You know, he's chasing Tweety, knocks over he's trying to catch the plate so the old lady doesn't whack him in the head with a broom. You're overworked. You're overworked. And so you feel like, hey, I can't keep up. I'm fried. Third reason, you're overlooked. You don't feel appreciated because it's been a long time, if ever, that you've been recognized for your unique contribution. Told, way to go. You're doing a great job. We need you. You're valuable to us. And I want to reward you. The fourth cause is you're just bored. You can't remember the last time you had anything exciting or challenging come across your work desk, right? You're bored. And finally, you don't see any purpose. You're not in your sleep. There's no purpose or meaning in your work. It's just a job. There's no juice. So whether it's toxicity, you're overworked, overlooked, you're bored, or there's no purpose in your work, you don't see any purpose or connection to any meaning in your work, let me tell you something. These are soul-level sources. They eat at your spirit, I'm telling you. Some of you are dealing with all 5. Some are dealing with 1. Some are dealing with 2 or 3. But let me just tell you something. If you are burned out, I'm telling you to look in those areas. Am I in a toxic place? Am I overworked? Am I overlooked? Am I bored? Do I find no purpose in my work? Okay, now that we know the source, we go, okay, what do we do to fix it? We got to get right to this. All right. If I'm doing the right thing in the wrong place, I'm in a toxic work environment, I've got to suck it up and get over my fear of change and realize that I've probably been okay being miserable because at least I'm comfortable. I got to go, I'm leaving. If I don't have any purpose at work, I'm going to take Ken's Get Clear assessment. And I'm going to figure out what a dream job looks like for me and find it. Get to the source, and then we can heal. This is the Ken Coleman Show.
Did you know that just like a product, you have a personal brand? It's the image or impression others form about you based on your interactions. And whether we realize it or not, our personal brand impacts opportunities to grow in our careers. That's why our team created the Personal Brand Survey. It's free, and it will give you personal and professional feedback so you can own your strengths and uncover any blind spots holding you back. To get started, go to kencoleman.com/brand.
All right, folks, we've got a problem on our hands in this American society, and I am working behind the scenes. I am trying to sound the alarm publicly on this, and I need your help because this is going to take a lot of leaders getting involved here. And every time I see this, I'm not surprised because I'm in the data every day, but I'm just increasingly saddened. Teachers and healthcare workers have had enough. Throw childcare workers in there, nurses specifically. They've had enough. Nurses are walking off their jobs. Teachers are quitting in droves. Shortage of teachers are prompting some schools to do a 4-day work week, a 4-day school week. And now the latest, hiring educators without a college degree. That's a separate topic, Alex, that I want to cover. I'm for it. Well, that's going to hack some people off. I'm absolutely for it. I absolutely am. Childcare workforce is shrinking, causing working moms, professional moms who've worked very hard to create a really, really lucrative career to have to go home. Or working dads. I mean, it's across both the aisles now. And there are two trends that this is really about people in the care business, caring professions. You know, one of the passions in the Get Clear assessment is caregiving. It's a absolutely defined passion. And this is an example. So if you look at healthcare workers, so let's just call them nurses, because it's greater than just nurses, but healthcare workers, childcare workers, and teachers, they're in the caregiving business. And there are two trends that you could see in both sides of the aisle. They were always a difficult profession due to the urgency and the all-in composition of caring for humans. The best way I can say that. And so you had two things. The coronavirus came in and all the safety concerns and disruptions and new policies and regulations, all those things made those jobs even more difficult. The second thing that happened was the pay didn't really increase very much. Now, we'll say traveling nurses and certain nurses can still do very, very, very well, but it doesn't even matter. You could pay a nurse $400,000 a year. They can't keep doing the work at the rate that they have to do it. It just can't. No one can. So I got to tell you, when I keep seeing this data, here's what I want to say publicly. We have some very smart people in the healthcare industry, and the healthcare industry is making plenty of money. So if you got to cut into your profit margin a little bit, healthcare leaders, do what's freaking right. You are in a big business. Make no mistake about it. Insurance companies, medical providers, show up at the same table and get your freaking priorities right and take care of the people who want to be on the front lines to care for the rest of us. I don't care about your profit margin. You make plenty of profit. Insurance leaders and healthcare leaders could fix this problem if they cared enough. But they're too busy collecting checks and traveling the globe and going to the country club to care enough about it. Yep, I said it. Don't tell me they ain't smart enough to fix it. You know how I know this, by the way? Because I've talked to nurses and I've talked to teachers, and they know what needs to be fixed, and any leader worth their salt could sit down and listen and make some tough leadership decisions. But that's the operating phrase, tough leadership decisions. Sitting down with your boards and your stockholders and go, hey, this is what we're going to do. Sitting down with parents and government leaders and school boards and doing what's right. That it requires tough leadership decisions, but they're not that complex. And I'll finish my rant with 20 seconds on the teacher situation is easily solved. I've talked to teachers. They've told me point blank what needs to change. And yet government leaders, politicians, bureaucrats, education system fat cats, all of them, they're not willing to change anything. Oh, we want to throw more money at it. I am the first one to say that teachers should make more money. But this is not about just salaries and benefits. Yes, they should be paid more, but it's not just about that. The system is a absolute freaking dumpster fire because politics and bureaucrats are in charge. There you go. Dawn is on the line in Little Rock, Arkansas. Dawn, how can I help?
Hey, Ken. I was calling in about having an issue with working 100 plus hours a week.
Oh, bless you.
Right now, I basically, the situation is I saw a need in my company. I filled the need and sort of created my own position, but inadvertently have not gotten any support from that. And I feel like I'm just burnt out.
You are? Yeah. Are you just absolutely overworked?
Absolutely. I do 5 people's jobs with one person.
When you created the position, were you excited about it?
I love the work. It's not the work itself.
It's just being overworked.
It's just being overworked and undervalued.
That's it. Those are the 3: overworked, undervalued. In other words, you're overlooked. They're not rewarding you. They're not recognizing you for the Herculean effort. So it's time to leave. And you should have no guilt. I mean, my goodness.
But I don't want to burn bridges is the problem.
Who says wait a second. Who says you have to burn a bridge to leave? You could walk across that bridge whistling.
I would feel like I'm burning a bridge because it was one of my former clients and my friend that brought me onto the company, and he introduced me to a lot of people that have a lot of connections.
Would your former client and your friend be okay with what's happening to you right now?
No, he's not necessarily okay with it. He already knows.
Right, but my point is, so what are we worried about? You're worried about upsetting or disappointing people who are already upset and disappointed by what's happening to you? You've done nothing wrong. You're not going to do anything wrong.
Okay.
You're going to walk across the bridge, skipping out of that place because you're heading into something. I don't want you to leave until you have something to leave to, unless you've got some financial independence and some time to find something. I actually
do.
Well, then I do.
I actually just sold my house, paid off all my debt, and I have a lump sum of about year's worth of wages set aside.
Okay, I don't want you to live off of that for very long, but I want you to at least take a month to find something new and get rest, heal, and learn from this situation, to never allow yourself to be put in that situation again. Okay. What happened is you're a good person, and you came up with a job description that you really love, and they took advantage of you.
Yeah. I mean, it was meant to be more of a supervisor role, and it ended up being something where I was taking on not only like creating all the policies and procedures, but I also did all the work and documented everything. And
yeah, but how much? And here's what I want you to learn. And I don't think it's all on you, but I do want to push you really quickly. You only got about a minute and a half. How much of this is you saying yes to things you shouldn't have said yes to?
I'd say probably at least 70% of it is my fault.
Okay. So I guess there's a chance then before you leave that you could go back to them and say, hey guys, 70% of what I'm doing right now, I said yes because this is why I am that way, and be honest with them. Go, I'm a people pleaser and I wanted to this. Just be very vulnerable and say, I can't do 70%. I got to pull this off. Can you guys pull this off of me? If not, I created this problem and that means I got to create the solution. But I'd at least have that conversation with them. Because you love the job. And see, now it's a little bit different. You changed the equation on me, and I'm glad I asked the question. I knew you were responsible for some of it. To be honest with you, I did not expect you to say 70% of it. So I think you actually got to go to them and be honest and vulnerable. Very vulnerable. And say, I said yes to this. I said yes to this, this, and this, and I shouldn't have. Here's what I learned. But I love the job. But I love it when it looks like this. Are you guys okay with me doing it this way? The answer is yes. We just solved a problem. If not, it's time to walk.
If the thought of attending a networking event makes you break out in hives, you're not alone. And I'll let you in on a secret. Networking in the traditional sense doesn't work, but genuine connection is all about relationships. That's why we created Networking the Right Way. This free guide is the low-pressure, high-impact way to overcome the awkwardness, build real relationships, and turn your connections into opportunities. To get the guide, go to kencoleman.com/network.
Helping you discover and do what you were created to do so you make more money and experience more meaning. I want to help you increase your income and show you how to increase your impact so you live a life of tremendous significance. And oh, by the way, success comes with that. Significance is the engine. Success is the caboose. The money, the accolades, everything else comes along with it. I need a train. I need a drawing of a train to kind of illustrate that, I feel like, Alex. That's one of those things that he's going to shake his head at me behind the glass. It's probably a horrible idea. But, sometimes I throw it out there. 844-747-2577 is the phone number to jump in. Let's go to Rebecca in Raleigh, North Carolina. Rebecca, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. Thanks so much for taking my call. I appreciate it.
You bet, Rebecca. I'm here for you. What are we talking about today?
Yeah, so a couple of weeks ago, I started a new job. It's part-time. It's basically my foot in the door, but I've noticed a lot of red flags already. 2 people quit on the spot during my second day there. I've noticed workplace bullying, and on my second day, HR actually brought me in and apologized for what I witnessed and said they didn't want me to feel like I made the wrong decision. So I'm just the vibe's been kind of like all over the place, and I'm kind of just wondering what I should do at this point.
What else besides the workplace bullying? Was that the incident that you're talking about where they called you in on day 2? You saw this?
Yeah. So a lot of work.
Did they punish the person who was doing the bullying?
I'm not sure what happened. I know they kind of asked me and a couple other witnesses what went on, but I don't know if they got punished or anything like that.
Are they still there?
I don't think so. Yeah, they're still there. Oh, yeah.
Are they still doing other stuff like that?
Yeah, very passive in some of our meetings and stuff. I can definitely see it.
Okay, what are the other red flags?
The other red flags are that every time I kind of ask for, what my other coworkers think of the job, I kind of just get the brush off, and I feel like they're kind of not telling me everything. When I Google and I did this before, but I take it at face value. I thought, everybody has different experiences. I want to give it a shot, but just very bad reviews and stuff. And then I'm just noticing a lot of passive aggressiveness amongst my coworkers. So I'm just wondering what to do at this point.
I think you need to trust your gut. And I'm pretty sure you got a gut feeling. You called me essentially to see if your gut was right. Mm-hmm. I think your gut's probably right, assuming I know what your gut's telling you, but let's just solve the mystery. What's your gut telling you?
Ken, I'm trying so hard to make it work. So hard.
I know you
are.
But
my gut, my gut's telling me no. But it sucks because this is my foot in the door, and I'm like,
I don't know. I mean, if I don't think this is your foot in the door. I think this is your foot in a door.
Mm.
That's true. I'm not trying to be silly with words here. The way you said that is though, man, this place sucks. This is a dumpster fire. And I'm going, Rebecca, get out of the dumpster fire. You're going to get burned. And you're going, yeah, I know, but this is the dumpster that I'm trying to get in. I'm like, what? Why are we trying to get in a dumpster that's on fire? I could go find you a perfectly good dumpster that's not on fire.
No, you're right.
I know I'm right. And I want you to get that. I want you to realize that this is, first of all, it's a part-time opportunity anyway, and it's the wrong place. And it's going to end up doing more damage than it will bring you benefit. So now we walk away and we learn from this and we go, okay, I should have paid attention to all those negative reviews online Because it's a difference between one or two people, these keyboard warriors that are just nasty, negative people that go around just saying negative crap all the time. That's not what this was. You saw a pattern of their customers, maybe even their vendors and other people. So now you're going to go do your research next time.
Absolutely. I totally agree. What would you say, Ken? Do you think I should stick it out for 3 months, or what would be the professional way to kind of...
No, this has nothing to do with professional. This has everything to do with financial. I want you to stay there only as long as it takes for you to get any other financial, income coming in. The minute that you replace this job, or if you don't need the income right now as a part-time income, I'd walk today. But you submit your notice, give them 2 weeks. That's all you owe. You don't owe them any more than that. Don't stick it out for 3 months, though. Get out of the dumpster fire!
So you just landed the new job. Congratulations. You've made it past the interviews, and now it's time to onboard with excellence. That's why I created How to Stand Out at Your New Job. This free checklist will help you succeed from day one and may even help you get promoted. These practical steps set you up to add value, help your team win, exceed your leaders' expectations, and ultimately set you up for a successful transition. To get started, just go to kencoleman.com/new.
All right, let's go to Helena, Montana. Garrett is there. Garrett, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Good afternoon. How are you today?
I am living the dream. How can I help you?
Just kind of lost. I've never really had any clear direction.
Okay.
Hops from
have you
job
ever,
to job.
Garrett? Have you ever fantasized about a future? Have you ever had a dream, a wondering?
No.
No?
No, not really.
See, I disagree. How old are you, Garrett?
34.
34. And in your 34 years, you've never wondered about a direction in life. I've never wondered, or even as a little kid, when somebody asks you the question, Garrett, what do you want to be when you grow up? You're telling me you've never had a thought about a desired future, something you go, I wonder what that would be like. Or, man, I think that would be awesome. I don't believe you, Garrett, so now's the time to cough it up. What is it that you've never said to anybody else?
Always had a thing for real estate. That's a direction I could go back in. Always had a thing for agriculture.
Well, now, wait a second, Garrett. You just told me you never had a thought.
I know.
Attaboy. Do you know how scary it is for me to say that to you, Garrett, when you present as you've never had an idea, and then I got to go out on a limb, and I got to risk it all to look like an idiot on the show to get you to admit that? But you know I'm happy to do that. So now let's dive deeper. Now that I got you there, let's dive deeper. When someone says to me, I've always had a thing for real estate, or I've always had a thing for agriculture, I want to know more. Let's go down the agriculture route for a second. What's that thing look like? What'd you wonder about, fantasize about? It's okay. There's nothing silly here. We're going to get some clues. Talk to me.
As far as
I just asked you. Agriculture. You've always had a thing for agriculture. What'd you wonder about? What'd you dream about? What'd you fantasize about?
I grew up around it, my grandparents' farms. And really outside of that, I've been a little bit in that equipment world, but aside from that, there's never really been a clear direction to go.
I get that you haven't had a clear direction. That's not the issue. The issue is we'll come up with direction later. And I think that's what's holding you up. I think you're so hung up on steps A through Z and not knowing what they are that you're ignoring the mountaintop. I could teach you to climb a mountain. Somebody could teach you. If I say I want to go scale Mount Kilimanjaro, there's plenty of people that I could pay to get me up that mountain. True or false, Garrett?
Yes, sir.
But I don't need to know how I'm going to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, do I? I need to know that I want to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. So if I could guarantee you wild success in agriculture or real estate, which one would you choose? But you could only choose one. Okay, that's the longest silence we've ever had in the history of the show. Garrett, so while I asked you that question, as I was setting it up, your brain selected one of them. Which one did it select? Say it. Say it, Garrett. I'm not kidding you right now. You are locking up because you are scared of something, and I'm going to get to that if I can. If you won't let me, I'm not kidding you, then I'm going to send you back with some homework and we'll let you back on the show. But either you decide today, and I mean today, Garrett, to get over your self-doubt and insecurity, or I'm going to send you back with homework. And I will. I'll give you some homework, and then you'll get to a point where you can call back and I can help you. But either you decide to do it now or we pause the call and I'll give you some homework. So tell me right now, what were you selecting in your brain when I asked you the question?
I would probably land somewhere in farm and ranch real estate.
Exactly. Because I was actually going to suggest, what if it's a combo? What if you get into the farming and ranching, and as a result, there's some real estate strategies and things involved in it because you've done that in the past. So what does it look like? Define the ranching and agriculture part for me. The dream scenario. Give it to me. Farming, ranching. Describe it. Describe it. What are you doing? Is it cows? Is it horses?
No,
is it alpacas?
No,
Come on, man.
I was thinking acting as an agent, broker, selling.
Farms?
That's where my mind went. No, selling real estate.
Okay, but
agricultural.
Okay.
That's where my mind went.
Selling agricultural real estate. Okay, great. So what's keeping you from doing that?
A broker, and probably some more experience in the industry. I've sold in the past, but since relocated and
right, and so
most of my license here. But
so now you would know how to, but you know how to connect with said brokers, yes or no? Okay, Garrett, here's the deal. I've never had a situation like this on the show where I'm going to do what I'm about to do, but I'm going to tell you something. I really believe that you need to go see a licensed therapist and a counselor. You are so locked up. There's two things going on. There's a spirit of doubt that's hanging on you like a big old giant choir robe. It's the only thing I could think of right now. It's like a garment that you have allowed someone to put on you. So there's some self-doubt. Welcome to the party. That's all something we all deal with. It's not the end of the world. It ain't a disease. Secondly, by your very nature, you are extremely analytical and overthink. And I think that is when you combine those two, let me tell you what it is. The audience can hear it, and I'm trying to set you free. But you don't need my help as it relates to ideas. You have the ideas. Do you know where you need my help? You need your butt kicked, and I'm trying to kick your butt in a positive way and say, get off the bleachers of life and stop thinking and start acting and start doing. And so when you take someone who has a lot of self-doubt and you combine it with being over-analytical, paralyzed, that's all I can think of. You have got paralysis by analysis. You're trying to analyze all the self-doubt and the source of that doubt, and then you're trying to come up with a way to go, I need to know every step of the way. I'll give you an example. When I said to you, what's keeping you from doing it? You're going, a broker. I got to have a relationship with a broker who will take me under their wing and I can start to sell under them. So you know how to find the broker and you just locked up. You know how to find the broker. Go find the broker. Go talk to everybody who knows where the brokers are that are selling agriculture in your area. And if you can't do it in Helena, Montana, I don't know where else in the world you can do it, but my goodness, somebody's selling agricultural plots and land in Helena and surrounding areas. And if they're not, go somewhere where they are. You got to decide. What is holding you back from doing the thing you want to do? And I'm telling you, it's doubt and overthinking. So the answer to that is have some confidence based on your clarity on what you want to do and how you go about doing it. Thank you for the call. You got to move, man. Stop thinking. This is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.
Thanks for listening to the Ken Coleman Show. For more, you can find the show on demand wherever you listen to podcasts and watch the show on YouTube. You can also find Ken across all social media by following @Ken Coleman.